Hi and welcome to the Pole Shift News. Guys, before we begin, as usual, big thanks to those people that support our observatory. We're taking it to the next level now, and over the last few days it's been really hectic for me. I've had most of the parts come. There's been a few disappointments on a couple of the parts, and you'll see a bit later on why that is. But in general, we're getting there. We've got about, 10 days left of the month, is it? And I promised I would have those magnetometers all built and ready to go out by then, and I think we can still be on schedule. We have got to order a couple more magnetometers, as you'll see a bit later on in the video, because the ones we ordered from China have come with the same serial numbers, but for some reason the program doesn't accept them. So I don't know whether there's another version of the program that needs to be cut and chopped and put together for that. But for now, for the sake of getting these things out, because that's what we want to do, we want to get these out in the field as quick as possible, we're just going to go and order them from the UK. They're going to cost a little bit more money than they usually do, getting them from China, but it's only a few that we need. And to save a few quid, I used the ones that we've got spares for the backup for the Tri-Mag. So we're moving forward. That's the main thing, guys, and you'll see in the video where we are with that. We've gotten pretty much all finished. When we do get the new magnetometers, it's just a case of clicking them on to the boards that we've assembled over the last few days, and that's it, putting them in the box. We have got somebody in Virginia. Brad, you know who you are. You're getting the first of the magnetometers over the next week or so. I'll be sending it to you. I'll be in touch with you on Skype, and we'll be selecting those other people that are going to take them in the US and over into South Russia, North China, and then in Australia. We're going to leave it for a week or so before we start really getting into the selection of those people who are going to have them, because the first thing, guys, is don't worry about knowing a lot about technology, and pretty much I'm going to simplify it all the way down to the fact that you're just going to have to go to this machine, take the SD card out, press reset when you put the SD card back in, and all you got to do is send me the packet. I'll process and do everything else and then put it up on the website. We're going to have another page on the website for all the data that we're collecting from all the different locations around the world, and we're going to just monitor that. At first we're going to do probably a test for about a week, and then we'll put the data up, and then we'll probably depending, we might just put them on every 15-second intervals. It collects a data packet, stores it to the SD card, and then every month we'll have a look at that. If we start to see significant changes in field strengths over short periods of time, then we're going to reduce the time period on those locations. So we might collect it every 2 weeks or every week on that location. So just briefly changing the topic, guys, the reason why we're looking at the Schumann resonance is because over here in the UK, and I'm not saying it's related to the Schumann resonance, but we have been experiencing some problems with GPS. And you may have come across some of the articles that I have with regards to GPS and the reliance on GPS, coming up in the media as because they are suspecting that we are pinning too much in the trust of GPS for all the things that we rely on, and it really affects everything. And they're saying that in the coming years we're going to start to see the GPS shut down. Well, it's a strange thing, because over here the last few days my sat nav in the car and other people's sat navs in the car has been just freezing for some reason. Not only that, Wi-Fi and other 4G and things like that have just been blanking out for some reason. So what is going on? Is there something else we don't know about taking place right now with regards to these things? I'm just putting it out there, guys. I don't know how widely it's affected the UK. All I can say is I drove from the central of England, Birmingham, to London yesterday, and we noticed it cutting out all the time. We tried another GPS sat nav, and that did the same, and so did the GPS on the mobile phone. So something's a little bit odd with that. And not only that, we noticed that when we popped into to grab a coffee, that the PDQ machines were struggling to get signals as well. So I think it's affecting everything that's wireless at the moment. I don't know how widespread this is, but certainly, from Birmingham or Coventry to London, that has been the case over the last few days. And if you look at the Schumann frequency over the last few days, you'll see that we've been seeing some pretty strange graphs that look like it's I don't know, some interference with some form of technology, because I don't, when I see perfect straight lines and then they stop and then perfect straight lines, it looks like an interference pattern caused by some form of technology, but it could equally be something else. If you look at the electron absorption, that region over the Atlantic anomaly, where the weakest magnetic field has been quite intense over the last few days as well. So, just putting that out there to you guys. Well, okay, let's go and run the video anyhow, so you can see how we're getting on with the magnetometers and the build. On the magnetometers, as you can see, they're all pretty much assembled. That is, apart from just a couple of them that are missing the magnetometers on the ends of these block cables that I've put on there. And the reason for that is because the ones that came from China are slightly different for some reason. Although the serial number is the same as the ones that are working, for some reason the program didn't like it. So what I'm going to do is, because now we're running short on time, our deadline was for the end of this month to get these out to the people in Canada or the United States, South Russia, North China and Australia. So for the benefit of that, we're going to have to order these parts. I know they're going to come in a little bit dearer, but it doesn't matter now because we only need a few of them from the UK, and all it is a case of is just plugging them in onto these little plugs that we've got here, and they're finished. But they're all programmed. What I've done is I borrowed the magnetometers off the other ones, just to get them all programmed, tested up, and make sure they're all running. But as you can see, they've all got the memory cards in, the batteries, got the data loggers connected to the breakout boards, and this is one that we've got here just running up a little bit, taking a few readings, and a bit later on I'll take the memory card out of there and just see if it's logging it all right. I mean, on the serial port on the computer, when you plug these into that, it's all okay. It's showing us that the magnetometers are working. If you bring a magnet in the vicinity of the magnetometer, then it shows an increase or a decrease in field strength. So we know that the magnetometers are working, we know that all the programs working on the board, and the LEDs are running as they're supposed to. Every time that flashes, if you remember, it's collecting one data packet and storing it onto the SD card. So we have the 6 pretty much all built. It's just a case of finishing off the boxes on these over the next few days, and we should be there. So there you go, guys. We're not too far behind our schedule, and given the budget that we had and the timescale that we've decided to do this in, I think we're doing really well. I think a couple of days time, perhaps early next week, Monday, Tuesday, we'll have all the magnetometers in, and then it's just a case of selection for the people who are going to get these magnetometers, and then after that, we'll be collecting the data, hopefully on or around the end of this month. As you can see, guys, we're at $925 we managed to get with the 155 patrons, and you can support this project, guys. If NASA were doing this project, obviously it would be a little bit more all singing and dancing with NASA. They'd be launching rockets and things like that. But if NASA were doing this project on this budget, it would be already probably £2 million over budget and 6 months delayed. So we're given the timescales that we're operating on and the budget that we're operating on, we are doing really well. I think you'll agree with me. We are really, really doing well. But how long will it be before we can get that up to $1,000? What do you reckon? You might be sitting there thinking, I'll put $1 in. If another 10 people put $1 in, it's going to get closer to that $1,000. And the more money we get, the more we can do. And guys, we've had something sitting on the back burner for a while now with the cloud generator, and it isn't been forgotten. It hasn't been just stuck on the back bench and left. Shortly we're going to be putting that together as well, because we'll be able to see live cosmic radiation. If it increases, we can see it on the cloud generator. It's a great visual experiment to do, so that you guys can see exactly what I see when I look into that cloud generator. I'll have the camera on there, and you can see it as these cosmic rays fly through it. We'll see them, and like I say, it hasn't been forgotten. I've already got the liquid blocks. I've got to buy some fans for that and radiators, because I think we're going to get lower temperatures by liquid cooling them as opposed to air cooling them like we was earlier on in the year. So things are moving on, guys, and there is another project, and I'm not going to say anything too much about it, but there is another project I want to do as soon as we get actually, to be honest, these things are piling up now. There's lots of things I want to do, but there's a real exciting project coming up, and I know a lot of people are going to want to participate in that. They're really going to love it, just for the fact that, again, we can nip NASA in the bud with just a small budget. We can outperform them. And I'll just give you a little bit of a cliffhanger, guys. It's got something to do with Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 and that message that they put on those 2 satellites that they sent out into space. We can overtake these little things much, much faster, and the data that we can transmit in doing that little project is I'm not gonna spoil it. Let's get these magnetometers finished, up and running, and get the cloud generator done, and then we're going to be discussing this new project. Don't forget, the reason why we've put these magnetometers together in a bit of a crude fashion, it's still going to give us data, is because we wanted data quick. I do have plans, when I get round to it, adding some more to the programs that we've got, and instead of it recording it just onto the SD card, we'll have it record it onto like a Wi-Fi transmitter, which will send it to the router and then update it up on the website live, or every hour, whatever packets of data it's collected, it will transmit it up onto the thing. It's going to take a little bit of work and time to develop that program, but that will be the Mark IIs of the magnetometers that we're sending out now. And the nice thing about them is we can manufacture as many as them. Well, okay, say manufacture, I can build more of them, because this isn't a magic manufacturing plant that we've got at the moment. These are all being built by hand and hand soldered, and it's time consuming, but we can upgrade them so that there's no calibration needed when they arrive on site. They'll self-calibrate, and they'll transmit the data live to the website, and we'll just have the graphs there updating all the time, and hopefully we'll archive them as well. Because I don't know if you've noticed, guys, a lot of websites that collect all this data, like the Schumann frequency and the cosmic ray data. If you look on the website that we've got, poleshiftnews.com, you'll see that none of these websites are archiving the data so that you can go back into, the last year of data. That's why I have designed, the website the way I have, so that when we put the TriMag data on there, you can go back from day one when we've done the first very tests on the few. You can go back to that point and see what it was doing, and then gradually see the changes over the month. When you just streaming live data up to the internet onto your website, like a lot of other sites do, you don't really see that archive of data. You just see the last couple of days, and if you're trying to get your head around what's actually taking place with it, it's very hard unless you're following it and recording it yourself. So you know, I think that it would be nice if we can transmit it up to the websites with the Mark II magnetometers, and also have an archive of data which would probably come from the SD cards. So there you go, guys. I'm not going to rattle on. The weekend's rapidly approaching. I want to just say thank you to the guys that have been supporting us, not just on Patreon but on PayPal as well. It's amazing that we've got 155 patrons, and guys, if you want to become a patron, it costs $1. You can become a patron for $1. Tell me, what else can you do for $1 these days? What we're trying to do here is collect data on the most significant event that is taking place in our day and lives right now, and that's the magnetic pole shift. And these new magnetometers are going to be monitoring the intensity of the North Pole over those two regions, Canada and Siberia, and likewise over the South Pole over in Australia and the Falklands, if we can get them over there. So guys, what I really could do with is not just some support as well financially, but also hearing from people South Russia, around that border between Russia and China, and North China as well, because we need to put 2 magnetometers there. So really we need to have people within those regions or around about. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. The links are down there. Become a patron, or if you don't want to do the patron thing, the PayPal link's there. Let's try and get this over $1,000 this week if we can. And as usual, guys, so what I usually do. Take care. Bye for now.